Another year, another zombie movie. I mean, they keep making them, so I guess I'll keep watching them and reviewing them. F.E.A.R. or Forget Everything and Run is brought to us by director Jeff Reisner and Jason Tobias and stars Marcy Miller, Jason Tobias, and Danny Ruiz. We follow the Allister family, a family of 4 that have been forced into the northern wilderness to survive a global pandemic. Though they're not alone, because many other people have also retreated to the northern wilderness to get away from this pandemic. Because you see, this disease produces zombies, and the zombies have a harder time tracking people in the cold. But the zombies aren't the Allister family's biggest threat. Oh no, it's other asshole people out there that are trying to steal all their shit. So when a group of marauders set the Allister family in their sights, they have to fight for survival or forget everything and run. F.E.A.R. is a zombie movie that, like many other zombie movies in the past, these zombies aren't the biggest threat. This is nothing new in this genre. However, I will say that F.E.A.R. takes it a step further and really sidelines those zombies and really focuses on the other bad human beings. There's zombies here, but they're not even that big of a threat. Most of the characters aren't too terribly concerned with them. They're actually more concerned with getting infected with the virus that the zombies have. But as I mentioned a moment ago, their biggest concern is other fuckheads out there coming and trying to steal their shit. This movie raised some really interesting questions concerning the morality of what all of these characters are willing to do to survive. Such as when one of the bad guys tells one of the good guys that, hey, you know what? We're not that different. We're all just out here trying to survive, trying to find stuff that we can take to get us to the next day. You've taken things from places so that you and your family could survive just like we have. And the good guy responds that, yeah, we have, but we've never taken anything from anyone. We've never killed anyone to take the stuff. And of course, the bad guy comes back with, but you have. Whenever you take something from someone's house or from some place, you are essentially taking that from someone else. There is someone out there that either owned that and needed it, or someone else that was going to come along and find it that would have gotten them to the next day. So you did what you had to do so that you and your family could survive at the expense of someone else. This is a really interesting point, and they really lean into these types of questions in the movie. And while these questions have come up in other zombie movies before, this movie did tend to lean into them a bit more than others. Now that being said, this movie doesn't really do anything that we haven't seen in a whole bunch of zombie movies before it. It does what it does fairly well, but it doesn't change the fact that we have seen all this before, and at times it gets a little bit tired. Now this is a lower budget independent film, so don't expect some big bombastic Army of the Dead kind of slaughter fest or anything like that. Now they keep this one down pretty low, and it's more about these two small factions going back and forth just trying to survive. And I think the movie was better served doing that. They never overextended themselves. As a whole, even though it is lower budget, the movie looks pretty good. It's nothing huge and flashy, but what we do get is effective. There's 1 or 2 shots that something looks just slightly off, but for the most part, everything here looks pretty solid. And that goes for the performances as well. Everybody here is pretty good. There's no Oscar-winning performances that are just gonna blow you away or anything, but there's nothing bad either. Everybody here did a pretty solid job. Now, even though most everything is pretty solid, and the story here is, while not wholly original, it's fairly interesting, where the movie really takes a big hit is with its pace. It's got some really slow parts where our characters are going back and forth about things that they've already discussed and even concluded on. There were a few times in the middle portion of the film where I was thinking to myself, okay, I'm not hating this, but come on, let's go moving forward. The movie comes in at about an hour and 40-ish minutes, but there are definitely about 10 or 15 minutes that could have been cut out to tighten up the pace and move things forward. Now, speaking of moving things forward, that's another one of the issues I had with the movie. It doesn't really move forward anywhere. Once we get to the end of the film, it's just all kind of inconsequential. There's a conclusion to the film, and we definitely do get an ending, but it just doesn't really go anywhere. Now, I did like where it seemed like the story might go if they did decide to further the story along, but as far as the here and now, this story right here, it just didn't go anywhere. Stuff happens, but in the end, none of it really matters. Guys, overall, F.E.A.R. was okay. It's not gonna win any awards, and honestly, it's not the most memorable film you're gonna see. But beyond a few dips in the pace here or there, the movie's entertaining. It's nothing you haven't seen before, but it is fairly solidly done, has better performances than I was expecting, and digs a little bit deeper into some of these interesting questions that we've gotten from films like this before. It's not gonna blow your socks off, but it is an entertaining enough ride for for the night and definitely worth streaming.
Across the street.
This movie was better than I expected it to be, I will say that. It does have its issues, but it is entertaining enough. So if you're looking for a zombie movie that doesn't really focus too much on the zombies for the night, then check out F.E.A.R, and I think you'll have a pretty good time with it. So there it is, guys, my review of F.E.A.R. If you enjoyed and want more content like this, hit that subscribe button and help my little channel grow. If you want to help out my channel, check out my Patreon in the description below and become a jarhead and get some of the awesome benefits like these guys. If you liked what I had to say, give me a like. If not, let me know in the comments below why. And as always, stay sexy, Fargo.
That's why you're here, right? Hiding.
Surviving.
There's something that happens in this movie that did kind of bother me. I know, shocker. Without spoiling anything, there is a character at one point that ends up getting left behind. And this character is left behind with some zombies by some other characters that are in a truck. And the characters in the truck look back to the other person that's being left behind. Now, they haven't been attacked by the zombies yet. They could still save them, and they just look on like, oh, I hate that we have to leave you, but we're gonna drive on now because there's zombies and we're in a fucking truck. So you're back there, we're over here, goodbye. And what the fuck? You're in a goddamn truck. Run them motherfuckers over. Go over there, pick this character up in the back, and just run over all them motherfuckers. It's not like some huge zombie horde that would stop this truck. This kind of thing comes up in these movies sometimes. I mean, you got some zombie movies that just plow through zombies, and I really applaud those movies. But the other ones, like this one, they just like act like those zombies are gonna stop a fucking truck. What the fuck? Have we not played Dead Rising? And yes, I know that this particular character that got left behind was already infected, but I don't give a fuck! If I'm infected by the zombie virus and there is a cure somewhere out there, regardless if we have any of it or not, I want to stay alive until that shit fucking happens. Until I fucking turn, then you can put a bullet in my brain. I want to stay alive as long as fucking possible, so if we come across some of that shit, I can take it. People real quick to just fucking sacrifice themselves in these goddamn movies. I don't fucking get it.